So basically, this part was a good discussion, but it was too off topic, and the podcast was already long enough. So please, sit back, relax, and enjoy Dreary the podcast, Season 2, Episode 1, Bonus Episode 1.
V3 was the first game in the series that actually came to console. It was Danganronpa was originally a handheld series, but this was the first one that actually came to PS4. At the same time, I don't know if this was a thing in Japan as well, but in the West we got a simultaneous Steam release, which was the first time Steam released alongside the PlayStation 4 version.
Ooh.
So PC and PlayStation fans got a Danganronpa at the same time. Which, I'm going to be honest with you, I think a game like Danganronpa, in general, doesn't work as much with... I mean, it's fine on the PlayStation, but I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, oh, I'm on my chair, I'm on my couch, my sofa, and I'm gonna read this 40-hour, visual novel. It seems a bit weird. And even when I was playing V3 on a chair with like a big TV, I don't know, I just thought it was strange. I think it fits the handheld. A lot better, or even if you're playing on a laptop or even a PC.
Yeah, same. And actually, last time we spoke about Danganronpa, we said it's weird that they haven't brought it to mobile. Well, since then and now, you can actually buy, because they did a 10th anniversary edition of Danganronpa 1, you can now buy that on iOS and Android. And Danganronpa 2 is coming out later this year, as is Danganronpa V3. They're all coming to iOS and Android.
It's weird. I find it strange that, like, obviously it was going to get a PS4 release, but I find it strange that they were kind of like, oh, okay. Well, no, they did release it on Vita, though, as well. I forgot. Yeah, but there was a Vita release of it.
The thing is if, like, you're right, it would suit a handheld device better, but I think it came out in 2014, right? What else?
No, V3's 2017.
Oh, 2017. The Switch wasn't
that was
out
V3.
At that point, was it?
It came out April of 2017, I think.
Oh, so
or March.
So I guess by the time that it was that far into development, the Switch probably would have been announced halfway through development, and there would have been too much effort to start again, or something. Because you're right, the Vita.
Well, I mean, V3 in Japan predates the Switch's release because it came out in January of that year.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have made sense for them to. But I'm surprised that they haven't done anything towards porting it either. And it's not like Spike Chunsoft has an issue with the Switch, because if you remember, the Mystery Dungeon series, of which Pokemon is one of the entries, is developed by Spike Chunsoft. So it's not even like they don't have a relationship with Nintendo. But that being said, a Vita game in 2017 is a bit weird.
Yeah, the Vita's all but dead, and I'm surprised they're still releasing stuff for it. Which, I like the Vita as a piece of hardware, but it's I do not care for just it as there's not enough on it to warrant a purchase, unless playing like everything on PSP and PS1 is appealing, which there is appeal there, but I don't know.
Well, also, if you want to get into the modding scene as well, the PSP and the Vita are both excellent emulator devices too.
Yeah, they both are really good for it. It's a shame. So Sony never put care into their handhelds. That's just how it is. And even though the PSP was more successful, it was never the hit that Nintendo's handhelds were. And I think it's all down to marketing.
I agree.
I don't know why Sony are very incompetent at marketing their handhelds.
Well, you see,
but I think the Vita might have killed any chance of a Sony handheld ever going back into that scene.
Well, you see, the thing was the PSP was released before the DS, and I think was technically more powerful. But they kind of shot themselves in the foot a few times. First with the marketing, and then the UMD. I don't care. The UMD is trash, and you had to have a memory stick, and the online was there, but kind of crap. But at least they tried to push it out there. And then the Vita, they just kind of threw it onto store shelves and said, buy it. We don't really care if you do or don't. And then that was it. I don't remember any marketing around the Vita, honestly, when it came out.
The Vita had no fanfare. It was just kind of out.
And also its name. What?
Yeah, it's... I don't know, like... I have issues with the way Nintendo as a company work, but the way they handled their handhelds were always excellent in terms of marketing anyway. Well, your opinion on the handheld itself is a different issue, but in terms of marketing it, the 3DS is... it's still getting games for it today, even though the 3DS is on its way out, supposedly.
Well, my favorite quote from Nintendo about any new product is they usually say it's not replacing the old one. Like when the DS came out, they said that wasn't replacing the Game Boy Advance. When the 3DS came out, they said it wasn't technically replacing the DS. When the Switch came out, they said it wasn't technically replacing the 3DS. It's like, yeah, but it's going to, isn't it? But I mean, credit's due.
Nintendo,
that 3DS
Nintendo
is
2011.
It's still going strong.
I mean, the Nintendo with the 3DS, it held Nintendo up for a while there. Because remember, like that dark time where the Wii U was out and Nintendo were doing really bad financially. They were pretty much just relying on the 3DS.
I would like to revise that statement. The 3DS held Nintendo up after the price drop. Because if you remember, the 3DS bombed on launch just because it was too expensive.
Yes, no, I actually do remember that. Yeah. The 3DS is so old, I forgot that because it was really old. I think a lot of people also didn't know it was a new product, like a jump in technology. Exactly. Because before that we already had the DSi, the DS Lite. It's like I think at the time I was like, oh, so is it just a new version of it? But no, it's the next. It was the next in line. It was going for proper 3D games.
Well, yeah.
So the 3DS. Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
I was going to say with the 3DS as well. I'm going to say that I think the DSi actually hurt marketing of the 3DS because it was a mid-generation upgrade that didn't actually add anything like new. Okay, you had DSiWare, but whatever. And the 3DS came very shortly afterwards. So you kind of said to everybody, "Hey, buy the DSi because it's new," and then you went, "Here's a 3DS," like immediately afterwards.
I actually prefer the original thicker DS to the thinner ones they made after.
So I still got my thick DS.
Yeah, that thing's a beast as well. I don't get even if it wasn't on Switch though. I don't get why Danganronpa wasn't put on the 3DS. Spike Chunsoft already had a history with Nintendo with the yes, but also I was gonna say the 999 is the name of the game, and the second one is Virtue's Last Reward. There's a name of the series. I forget what the name of the series is, but if you look up Virtue's Last Reward, Zero Escape.
Oh yeah, Zero Escape. Yeah, series. I do remember that.
That's the first two are on the DS and the 3DS respectively. I don't know if the third. Yeah, I don't know if the third one. Is the third one on there as well?
I assume it would be.
Zero Time Dilemma. Zero Time Dilemma's on 3DS as well. Yeah, so the entire trilogy's on Nintendo. And that's all Spike Chunsoft. If you want to try if you want to try it on Steam, here's my opinion. The game 999. The first one is really good, and the next two aren't.
Is that the one where the camera is a character in the game?
Yeah, it's a character. That's the big twist.
Okay, do you know what? It's fine. I'm fine. I don't need to play that game.
It's kind of going for the Danganronpa thing where the casts are all different in each game, and it's more of a puzzle game. But the first one is like really good because you're like, man, these twists are really cool, and then like by the third one you're like, oh, this is stupid. And the third one has really bad cutscenes and in terms of because they use these 3DS models and they're trying to make cutscenes out of it. and it just looks really janky, especially if you play it on Steam or PS4. So you've got it on like a big screen. It looks really bad. Because remember, they were making it with the 3DS in mind. So you have these janky models. It's really bad. I give it props for being fully voice acted, though.
Well, then you could argue maybe the reason why they didn't go for the 3DS is because they already had a visual novel series for the 3DS.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not that big on the Zero Escape series myself, but I know it has its fans. Puzzle game wise, I've always been a bigger fan. I prefer stuff like Professor Layton. I also prefer the tone of Professor Layton because it's more just lighthearted and not miserable. So I'd say that's more my shtick, but it's a fine puzzle game series. It has its fans. Spike Chunsoft wise, I think the Danganronpa trilogy is better, even though we're going to talk about V3 and our problems with it and our positives with it.
Hey, so that's the end of that. Just head on over to the description to listen to the rest of the episode. It's actually really good.